by the time you became chairman of HSBC Asia Pacific, you were resident in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong is a brutal investment banker's paradise, and HSBC was one of the most conservative, careful institutions. As a leader, and maybe in your leadership circles within HSBC, how did you keep that focus? And today, looking back, we all give HSBC a medal for having held the franchise well that way. But at that time, there's always this pressure. The markets are changing, the opportunities are there, and how does an institution sort of, keep true to its? I'm almost complimenting you as I'm saying this. But
yes, I'm getting worried about it.
Yeah, but on hindsight, you can, but at that time, I don't think so. I mean, I think that you were struggling with a few things, I'm sure.
Do you know what? The other side of all of this comes down to communication. And I've been lucky in many ways in that the people that I have worked with, and the person who was running the investment bank for the majority of the time that I was running Asia Pacific, was somebody who I had complete trust in, and who we would talk on a regular basis. But this was a particular individual who was able to help bridge the gap between the commercial bank and the investment bank. So the investment bankers would tell the commercial banks if there was something that one of their clients wanted that the investment bank actually wasn't particularly interested in. But we might have been. And vice versa. We would sometimes take the investment bankers with us because we thought that a particular client was going to do something that the commercial bank wouldn't be able to, but the investment bank would. And it's this whole thing about communicating with people and being able to get them to feel comfortable with you, to talk to you, and you talk back to them.
At what price?
I'm going to make a distinction again between the commercial bankers and the investment bankers, because it's never really been an issue for the commercial bankers, because they haven't relied on bonuses to take home large sums of money. I think it started in the treasuries, where people started to be paid by results, which is fine with me. I don't have an issue with people being paid by results. And it's true of the investment bank. I don't mind them being paid by results. And people who are talking about cutting the bonuses of everybody is not necessarily doing themselves a great favor by cutting the bonuses, because all they'll do is they'll go off on their own and set up their own businesses and take lots of money that way. So they're not going to be an impact. But I think we need a culture where people are paid by results, but they don't necessarily get it all in one go. I mean, the thing that used to, frankly, irritate me was that somebody would do a couple of big deals during a year. They would then say, well, this is my percentage of the bonus and this is what I'm expecting. In the meantime, somebody else had come to them and said, well, we would like to take you on because you did these good deals. And so they would say, well, wait until we get our bonus, and they would get their bonus all in one go, and off they'd go somewhere else.
But the problem in financial services is those big deals themselves come under scrutiny today.
That's also true, but if you're going to do that, then you don't pay people the bonuses in one go, you pay them over a period of time.
Do you think that the industry will accept that kind of a thinking?
I mean, sadly, from my point of view, I think it's one of those things that the whole industry would have to agree to it, or nobody agrees to it, because you will get people who will break ranks, and once they start to break ranks, everybody breaks ranks. I'm going back to the military side of leadership. But people have very short memories. This is the sad thing. And I am worried that eventually, I mean, we are going to come through this financial hiatus. I got very worried a month ago when I started to see some of the investment banks saying, we've made more money in this quarter than we've made in recent years.
That's right.
It's scary. But somebody somewhere has got to put their foot down and say, look, you've got to be sensible about this. How much money can you spend in a year, for heaven's sake?
You know, we all forget that that the UK generated some of the most memorable leaders in financial services in the 1990s. You know, you have Sir Fred Goodwin, you have Sir Brian Pittman, you have Sir George Mathewson, people who build very powerful franchises. And then the very franchises they built overextended themselves in few short years, and there goes the reputation and so on. What do you think is going to happen? What is the next cohort of leaders that you think is going to come through from the crisis?
It is cyclical. You do end up with people who build up huge reputations and leave and retain their reputations. There will be a cadre of people coming up through institutions today who have seen what has happened, who hopefully will be jealous of their reputations, will want to ensure that they maintain them, will have, and this is something that is different from the past, they will have a social responsibility aspect to the way in which they do business, because historically people didn't have that, but that is required of people today. And I think they'll be generalists as well, because I think they will be people who need to see the big picture. They won't have worked in one country only. They will have worked in different countries. They won't have worked in one discipline within a financial institution. They will have worked in a number of disciplines within a financial institution. And I think those are the people who you will start to see coming through and leading departments and ultimately leading banks.
It's a topic that has no end in itself, but the experience that you've brought to the industry, I think, is something that we need to bear as we go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.